Yes. Yeah. All right. So we're going to be doing this very mundane thing that needs, I think, special attention. We do it so much that we kind of forget what goes into it. So I wanted to bring it back to the abstract a little so we can build better copies, to recognize better copies, not just for those of us writing them, but also for those of us reading them. So what goes into a social media copy? What's the anatomy? Usually it's divided into hook, body, and call to action, right? We've heard this a million times. What is a hook? What's the point of the hook? Well,
I'm sorry, I have a quick question.
yeah.
What is a social media copy?
Oh, that's something I should have defined. So the social media copy is, in other words, the caption. That is the piece of text attached to a social media post. Either that could be the description on YouTube, or that could be just the text of a Instagram post. Um, the text, in other words, not the
Okay,
text on the graphic, but the text that's posted alongside it. Yeah.
that helps. Thanks.
Should have defined that actually. Thank you, Mick. Those are divided into hook, body, and call to action, right? So in the beginning of the copy, you want to grab people's attention, right? The first thing they see in your post is the first few words. So you want to keep people's attention as fast as you get it. Body of the copy sometimes exists, as we will talk about. This is where you'll put in extra information, must know information, some additional points that you want to get across. And then the CTA or call to action, where are you sending your audience? This is a little vague because we're about to get into each of those parts. Before you start, this is what you want to think about. In other words, when you're building your hook, it's kind of impossible to um, teach someone how to create the perfect hook, but here's some tips on how to grab attention, to speak to the right audience. You want to think about purpose, audience, language, and tone. So, for example, what's the purpose of this post? It could be event signups. We write a lot of posts about signing up to some networking event. Brand awareness. We do this a lot. For all accounts, this is what our brand is about. This is what you want to think of when you think of this company, or you want to send people to visit some location. That could be various purposes. You could also make a post to thank someone. That happens often. Oh, thank you for this sponsor for this event. When we're thinking about audience, there's a million demographics we could speak to when we're making posts, but some examples that we do often: business owners, gamblers, diners, mothers of young children, seniors, and then each of those affect what words you're using, what problems you'll be solving. So that's something important to remember before you even start writing. Who's going to see this? Is it going to be seniors? I need to speak a certain way. Is it going to be young, teenagers? To speak another way, right? The language. What kind of language do you want to use? What maybe linguistic tactics you can say? For example, that could be strong imagery, right? With Casa de Amore, for example, for if we're making like a food post for the casinos, we want to talk about, the cheese pull and how cheesy this item is. We want to create an image with the words. That's very strong. Sometimes urgency in a lot of these examples we'll be looking at today. We want an urgent copy. You need to know about this event, or this is the last day to sign up for this event. Urgency is often how we get people to click on things, register to things. People don't want to do it if it's right very far in the future. When we were making Best of Las Vegas posts, sometimes we didn't say when voting would end, so that we could say urgently, just a couple days left, just a little bit left, so that people felt like they should click on that link. Excuse me. Tone is another thing to keep in mind when building a hook and a copy in general. Do you want to sound professional? Do you want to be playful? Do you want to be boastful? What kind of copy do you want to build? On the left here, I got some um, examples of what I thought were strong hooks. So, for example, this Casa di Amore post at the top: step inside and feel right at home, where every meal is served with amore, flavor, and a little Italian magic. I thought this was a really strong hook because it created the image very well of what, Casa Amore wants to sell in terms of atmosphere. This Emerald Island post I thought was very strong. The feast kicks off tomorrow at noon. Very direct about what you need to know. Adds urgency. It's tomorrow specifically, right? Hurry, you need to be aware of this event. This Dr. Death post was strong as well, I thought. Ever hear that eerie late night chirping? Not the vibe we want. So it sets the kind of people we're talking to. It also sets the problem that Dr. Death wants to solve, right? Chirping, right? If you have this problem, and then the rest of the post will explain what to do, right? Um, excuse me. There's an HTC post here at the bottom, ready to mix business with a little swing. Let you know what this post is going to be about. Um, while also setting tone audience, right? I think this set it very well. Sorry, I'm getting over my cold. Um, so that's what we need to know about hooks, right? I can't just say directly this is how you make a good hook. This is some factors to consider in a good hook. The body. So the body, I think, is something that's more optional for social media copies. Not all, we don't always include them because less is usually more with social media. Um, oh, excuse me. So sorry. Some events require more information. You want to include all the must-know information about your event, your product, your promotion in the least amount of words as possible. So I think because of that, it depends on post to post what we want to include here. In this Gordon Law post, there was more to talk about. There was more points that we wanted to hit on, so it was a longer post. In previous ones here, they're much shorter, right? Including this Emerald Island one. Call to action. This is what we want to do, what we want people to do with our posts. We're taking all this interest we just created, telling audiences, what do you want them to do next? Do you want engagement? Do you want them to comment? Do you want location visits? Do you want them to go to the contact page? Do you want them to read more from your blog? This is where you'll tell them. The question I always ask myself when I'm building a copy is, so what do I do about this, right? You told me about this party, you told me about this event. Now what? Some examples we have on the left. Which giveaway was your favorite? Tell us below. My point of this post was to get people to engage. Let's send our cheers in the comments. I want people to engage. This Gordon Law post, register now. Very direct. Advanced techniques. This is some things I've learned over the years. Every piece of this formula is optional as long as the information, the emotion, the call to action find a way into the post. Right, so it'll depend on timing, client, what we're including, and sometimes we can play with that formula. Um, some posts can play with the formula for variety. Emojis are a great tool for skimming to convey info for those who aren't reading every word. They can also be used for spacing, pacing, and punctuation. For example, in this Gordon Law post, I cut out everything else so you can see what the emojis really are doing here. It's bringing attention to that urgency, right? Last call to register makes it very urgent. And then at the end, it brings attention to that call to action, register by October 8th. So the emojis really took your eye to the most important information. But there's a Rainbow Club post over here. The emojis kind of divided the hook and the call to action. And then also at a glance, you can see what kind of foods they were offering that day, right? It's a menu, so it's just a wall of text. People could see quickly, oh, there's a burger, there's a sandwich, and so on. Here are some things to avoid when making your copy. You don't want to sound like AI. I think other posts often sound like AI, so at least for me, I try to avoid some of those AI cliches. We don't want to include every piece of information because that also gets people to read more, right? So it's important to pick and choose your battles. What do you want to make a post about? Maybe you make another post about another part of this event. I think something else good to avoid is the sales pitch, or I should say that a different way. Don't just make a sales pitch. It's not just marketing here. We still are making social posts. We want people to be interested. We want people to be to have some sort of human element to it, right? It's not just we have a new product, click here, right? And then, of course, making a wall of text ensures that people are not going to read your post. So less is more. Excuse me. So review questions. Now we are going to be applying some of this information. So this first question I have here, what is a desirable quality in a social media copy? Three of these are things we don't want. One of them are things we do want. Sounds AI, long call to action, no link, or attention grabbing hook. Um, Maria, do you know the answer to this one? What is a desirable quality in a copy?
Attention grabbing hook.
Yes. The rest of those are negative things we don't want. We don't want it to sound AI. We don't want the call to action to be too long. We want it snappy. No link. It depends on the situation, but links are generally good. We want an attention grabbing hook, right? Answer is D. Another question we have here. Why it. Ooh, what? Sorry, my mistake. What is not a good reason to include an emoji? You, three of these. Oh, sorry, I confused myself. We have I'm drawing a blank. So I'll just read. Visual variety, bring attention to important info, elongate a copy, or separate sentences. So three of these are good reasons. One of them is not a good reason. Um, Crystal, can you help with this one?
You're muted.
My apologies. I was going to say C, elongate a copy.
Yes, that is not something we want to strive for with copies. We want them to be short and sweet, so elongating them is a bad reason to include emojis. Oh, this is way too short. Let's add emojis to make it longer. It's probably one of the few reasons you should not use an emoji. Now, brainstorm, this is going to be more open-ended. There's no right or wrong answer to this, just ideas. So I have some two copies here, especially hooks that are on the weaker side. What are some things we can do to improve them? So I'll give number one to Laura. So I'll read this. At ABC Company, we strive to bring the highest level of customer satisfaction possible by continuously improving our standards of excellence and focusing on client-centric strategies. There's a couple ways we could go about fixing this. What would you do here, Laura?
Is this the entire copy? Section one is the entire copy.
Uh, n- yes, let's say yes for this exercise.
Okay, well, there's no hook at all. It sounds like AI with the at ABC Company and the words like strive, thriving, stuff like that also has that same effect. And there's sort of no point if the goal of this post is to highlight like how incredible they are. I would rather have either some more niche examples on how they do that, or like a link to testimonials or something more specific.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All of the above, right? We have some AI words that AI loves here. It's, I don't know what to do after this. No good strong call to action, right? A lot of ways we can improve this. Let's look at the second one now. Our new product is available on our website now. If this is the entire post, that's not amazing. Toby, do you have any recommendations on how to improve number two? Toby, you're unmuted, but I think your microphone's not connected.
Is this working?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Moving on to this. Um, I would probably change the hook, obviously. Try to capture the audience a little bit more. Probably something like, does this look like something for you? Question mark. And then like something that's saying, uh, maybe just one thing about the product if it isn't already explained in the post, because it depends on the post, and then a link. We can probably say, go to our website now or get yours today, link to the product.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I would do all of that. I would go back to this um, hook page from earlier and consider all of these things. That post didn't quite consider any of them: purpose, audience, language, or tone. So perfect. Um, I think that, yes, that was the end. So, oh, excuse me. Let's write better copies. Do we have any questions, comments, concerns, anything?
Yeah, I have a question. So because I mean, copy is bigger than just captions. It does also include text on a graphic. It includes website bodies, all of that. Um, but for social specifically, because it is so visual dominant, um, people are not going to read these even if they're spectacular. So what is your suggestion to sort of implement these same concepts, because they're all valuable, but with that in mind that the caption is likely not ever even read?
I have a suggestion, if I can pitch it for you, Alex.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is really helpful is not starting with wimpy, wishy-washy first few words. You're lucky if you get people to read 4 words of a caption. So start with an action. Start with an action word. Go back to any of those. Go back to the 2 that you asked for improvement on.
Yeah. Can you see it now?
Yeah. So, for example, at ABC Company, we strive blah, blah, blah. What you want to say here is something about excellent customer satisfaction. So starting with the even a verb or an action word is a great way to rewrite this. So bringing excellent customer satisfaction helps us meet our standards, something like that. So that just immediately reduced a lot of that clutter. So really, if you can think of how a newspaper headline is written, often it's 4 words or less, and it tells the entire story of the text. The second one, our new product is available on our website now. Let's say we just really want to say that, available now on our website. Just clear out the clutter. Buy the product now. You tell the whole story and you did it in 3 words instead of all of these. So think about leading with action, leading with an action word or a very short action phrase. I think that's one of the ways to get people's attention and not expect them to read the entirety of the post. However, one last thought, and that is make sure that the entirety of the post is perfect. We do all of this content review to make sure that nothing leaves with spelling errors or grammar errors. Well, with grammar, we take a few shortcuts because often we do phrases rather than full sentences, but they still are properly constructed. So hopefully that was helpful. Alex, what would you add to that?
I would add that, even if people don't read the caption, I think we can include a lot of these strategies into the graphic, into videos, I think. Even if there's not a lot of text, we can, include, something I said earlier, maybe solving the problem very quickly, maybe in that first slide. Have you ever heard this? Let's say it's a doctor death um, graphic. Have you ever heard of this? And it's playing some sort of sound. Then we solve it, and then at the end of that video, go to our website for more information. Right? We could use all of that into the piece of content that we hope people are watching the video. Static graphics, I think, can include this information. Definitely call to action, right? When we're building, for example, like a page in a magazine, right? We want a very, that's the biggest piece of text. So it's important to consider, I think, all of the things that I said were copied, but also they can be included in editing, video editing. They can be included in building a graphic. So I would also add that. What do you think, Laura? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Thanks.
Awesome. Any other comments, questions? Anything to add?
Yeah, how do you feel about like AI cats, like AI cats using a product? Because
AI.
lately,
I
listen, those AI videos, they're kind of addicting for a lot of people. Just having, like an AI cat. I'm just saying cat because, I like cats, but
Mhm.
using like a certain product and that be the video, for or against?
I think there is a time and place for it. I don't think I think none of our clients would benefit from AI cats. But there are some audiences that would benefit, or marketing for some theoretical client where AI cat would work. But I think it's there's a time and place for like obvious AI, and I don't think any of our clients are right for that.
Gotcha.
That's my
Thanks.
thought. All right. Anything else before we finish?
Thank
If
you.
not,
Nice
that's
work.
wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alex. Bye.
Alrighty, we'll see you soon. Bye bye.